Hello. The title for the video for the 23rd is We've Been Lied to All of Our Lives. Frankly, I have so many ideas swirling in my mind that it's challenging for me to simply make a decision which one should be featured on this video. For the past several hours, I have been reviewing articles and videos about the fraud of psychiatry and so-called psychiatric drugs. I'll save that for another video and address the issues regarding my past involvement with groups and people who claim to offer solutions to the mass brainwashing and deceptions enslaving human culture. A couple of these, like RuSA and OPPT, I still think we're providing a real alternative to the gross criminality of our familiar system of corporate governments that infest every aspect of our lives. Others, like Swiss Indo and the Red Dragon ambassador, captured my attention and interest, yet proved to offer nothing substantial in the way of real change. This has brought me into the most skeptical phase I've ever known. From the ranks of true believer, I have sunk to the level where I question almost everything except the existence of a God who must ultimately right the horrific wrongs we have suffered for so long. Short of that, I have little hope that anything positive will happen in my lifetime. Just before I was ready to hit the record button, I thought, you know, that quote by Michael Ellner, I think that's his name, yeah, Michael Ellner, would be a real good one to share here. And so I looked it up quickly and held off the beginning of the recording. But Michael Ellner, his famous quote is this: "Just look at us. Everything is backwards. Everything is upside down. Doctors destroy health. Lawyers destroy justice. Psychiatrists destroy minds. Scientists destroy truth. Major media destroys information. Religions destroy spirituality. And governments destroy freedom." Amen, Michael. That is the truth. And again, like I said in the blurb, I'm going to deal with some of the subject of that he brought to mind there of actually lawyers and psychiatrists was what was featured, how they destroy our minds, and earth-shattering stuff in some of the videos that I've watched earlier today. But it's been a very busy day for me, and I just want to make a quick sweep over some of the things that I've been involved in, because people have brought some of these things up in recent comments on my videos. First of all, I'll start with RuSA. RuSA was a group of people, and we were involved in all 50 states, and the attempt was to restore the republic form of government in the United States and take out the corporate form of government, which is not government, it's control. It's not freedom, it's slavery. And the goal was to create a structure that would replace the current system with actually something that is supported by the original Constitution and the founding documents of the United States in America. Anyway, you all know that they arrested Tim Turner, and I don't know what all the charges they brought up against him. He was the President of the Republic. I was Secretary of State in Florida, in the Republic of Florida, the Florida Free State, whatever you want to call it. And we had officers throughout the country in every state, all 50 states in the Union. We had people that were on board with that. I don't know what's happened to it since the arrest and imprisonment of Tim Turner, but I do know that there's been a lot of people that have that vision of restoring the true form of government that our founding fathers gave us. And as who was it? Benjamin Franklin. What did you do? We're giving you a republic if you can hang on to it, or something like that. He was quoted as saying. But anyway, RuSA to me really wanted to lay a foundation that we could build on and restore order, not only to the United States, but to the rest of the world. It wasn't perfect, and neither was the original founding documents. There were things that they omitted, but it was a step in the right direction. OPPT laid a legal foundation for reestablishing the people's value. And we are all multi-millionaires. The corporations have stolen the value from the people, which is a natural value. We actually have unlimited value and unlimited potential. That's the reality. But we've been enslaved in our minds and our bodies, and our lives have been taken over by this corporate system, which is nothing but lie on top of lie. And then I talked about Swiss Indo, and my friend Peter Van Runt was the one that invited me into Swiss Indo, and he and I were friends, and I became friends with a lot of other people, and I didn't go along with Mr. Sugi saying he was the King of Kings. That never resonated with me, because to me, at that point in time, Jesus was the King of Kings, and not anybody else. Although more recently, I think that we need to get back to having a female Messiah like Anastasia rather than a male Messiah, because the female, that's what happened when the earth started shifting. It was shifting because it went from something that was ruled by the feminine aspect into the masculine aspect of control. And it was not, humans were no longer nurtured in the culture of control, the masculine culture, which to me is also the demonic culture. But anyway, the Red Dragon and the ambassador, after, I had initial contact with the Red Dragon, and he's was an interesting man. He was converted to Christianity, though that's not his native religion that he was raised in. And the ambassador, of course, was actually Muslim, is Muslim. And the ambassador and I had a really good relationship. I mean, I didn't like it that so many of my friends were telling me that he was, using me, or I couldn't see, because his and my relationship to me were really, really good. And as I've said in other videos, when I went into the hospital, he was calling my family, he was calling doctors, he was keeping in touch, and he showed himself to be a friend. And I don't know where he ever got off calling me a liar when all I was doing was saying what he had promised me, which he never kept his promises. But what he went through and what I know about him, I still don't want to throw rocks at him. I like the ambassador still, even though so many of my friends that have been cut off from me, that I've blocked and everything else, that's where the blocking came. I would venture to say that 80 or 90% of all the people that I've ever blocked in the whole history of my channel happened during that time when I got out of the hospital and people were attacking me over the ambassador. That's when most of the blocking happened, because they were coming at me viciously and I was trying to survive. But I still put my confidence in God. That's something that I'm not going to give up. If there is no God that's going to take action, there is no hope for humanity. Pure and simple. There's no hope of us ever turning it around. This world is going to end up just like the previous world. It's going to be destroyed and start over from scratch again. And I don't see any way that we can avoid that if God doesn't take action, because God is omnipotent and omniscient and omnipresent and is supposed to have the ability to step in and fix the problem. Anyway, I do see that my time is running out. I better clear that, because the buzzer's going to go off. It would have another second or two, and a buzzer would have gone off. But anyway, Please, please forgive me if I've offended you by cutting people off, but I was hurting really bad and I was fighting for my life. And some of you were not very nice, and I had a very short fuse. And I'm not going to go back and try to figure out who I should reinstate and who I shouldn't. But I want you all to know that I want a world that works for all of us. And it has to be based on truth. There has to be a leadership that loves and is not deceptive, is upfront, and it just has to be that way. It'll never happen with the fraudsters running the ship that we've seen all of our lives and experienced as our reality of human experience. Anyway, I know I've gone over what I normally do, but thank you for listening, and namaste.